What's up, guys? It's Steve the Graphics Guy, and today I'm printing booklets. And I don't normally do that. Let's get into it. So some of you may have seen in the Print Fam Facebook group, I got this Canon Image Runner, and if you did see that, you only saw the main unit itself. A new addition already, only a few weeks later, is this booklet finisher, and that's what it's doing right now. We have a little ice cream menu that we're working on, and it's just folding in half, 8.5 by 11. It's doing the saddle stitch and cranking them out. And so since I got this printer, it hasn't been the easiest thing to work with. Canon doesn't support it directly. They do it through their vendors, I guess. And so I've kind of had to figure out a lot on my own, because once you call one of those companies, they're going to try to get you on a service contract. And I got this machine for $500. I'm really not interested in a contract. It was kind of like, hey, if this works, that'd be great. If it doesn't, I wasted $500, but I tried. So it's working out great so far. All I had to do to get it up and running was I replaced the fuser tube, and now it's perfect. It had a small blemish. I don't know how that happened with the previous owner of this machine, because it's used, if I didn't already mention that. But once I replaced that, it was good. And then I got the booklet finisher, which came with no instructions. That was also used. But I got that figured out pretty easily. Was able to update the machine, get that all sorted out. And then we ran into so much trouble setting up this menu for printing as a booklet. And not even just the setup, but like navigating the driver print menu seemed to prove to be extremely difficult for a few reasons. So here's that print menu, and there's obviously a bunch of options here, but those aren't really the options I want to use. So it took me forever to find like the real print driver, and I ended up on like Canon's Canada website, and finally found this because I saw it in a bunch of other YouTube videos, and I just wasn't getting the options I needed with whatever driver Windows downloaded when I plugged the printer in. So navigating this has been a little bit difficult, but what I figured out, the hardest part was the page size and the output size. And we were putting in the same like letter and then letter, because that's what we were trying to accomplish, but we didn't really know. And so then we figured out that, okay, we had to do statement, because that's the finished size basically, and we're printing it on letter. So we did that. And then there were just like a bunch of glitches with this whole driver. At first, like fold and saddle stitch wasn't an option with Booklet, which made no sense. But we sorted all that out. So now we're printing them. So I already have 200 done. I am doing them in batches of 50. In groupings of 5 is how I'm able to cut them. And so I wanted to show you a little bit of that process. I've been cutting these in stacks of 5. I got this giant paper cutter off of Amazon. It of course came from China. That's expected. And it does have millimeters and inches, which is great. I could do a full review on this thing, and I'd probably say it's okay. The measurement bar, not the most stable thing, but once you get it set, you're good. And so what I've learned is that you want to do all of your cuts in one way, then the other, because there's 3 different cuts. So I've been doing this side, which I'm sure there's a technical term for that I haven't learned, and then the top, and then the bottom. So I rip through all of this edge. And then my next cut is at 8 inches. Jeez. Which I've actually already started, so I didn't need to reset that. So I'm just getting these things in here nice and tight. It has like a little lever that lowers down and clamps everything in. Pull down on the handle like we're playing The Price is Right. And then do the next set, rinse and repeat. So this does get pretty quick as you get the hang of it and know how many times to spin the clamp wheel and unspin it and know which direction to spin it. Still learning. But what seems like forever is how many of these we have to cut out. And our total ordered were 1,000. And I don't know if I should have done or offered this amount to my customer. To be honest, when I started this project, I had all plans to outsource this job, but as I was outsourcing a couple other small paper jobs, I found it a little too difficult to work with some other printers. And I like to control as much as I can. And I knew that if I do it, I'm gonna do the best job I can. And I'm not gonna be happy until it's good. So that's why I'm doing this. I don't think I'm necessarily making a killing on these. I might, honestly, since I bought this printer and the booklet finisher and the amount of paper I had to buy for these, I'm probably losing money. In fact, I'm pretty sure I'm losing money. But that's not all that it's about. I'm glad I'm doing this. I'm able to learn a couple things about this process, about the new printer, this side of the business, because I always do wide format and signage and stuff, and not so much paper printing. So I've got a million more of these to go, but if you have any tips for me on your process, how you got started, what you're doing now versus what you were doing in the beginning, I'd love to hear it in the comments below. And I also know that, like I think I already said, I know this is not the most efficient way to do this, but I also know that this is going to be one of those things that I look back on in a couple years, or probably a lot less, honestly. And I'm like, why was I using that paper cutter when I, have a probably automatic cutter at some point, and we're doing a much better job, cleaner job, quicker job. So it'll be cool to see the progress we make in X amount of time. But I think that's going to be it for today. I appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, give us a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one.